Hello, I'm Steve. Welcome to the Patio Heat channel, where we create visual concepts of infrared heating as well as tips for outdoor comfort. Our one-on-one customer support helps you make the best decision for your application. We strive to earn your business. Visit our patioheat.com website for sales and more information. Now let's get heating. All right, so we have a covered patio section on this residential application, and basically you'll see here we have some light fixtures that are going to be recessed into the ceiling, and there will be a ceiling fan inside here. Now they did mention that their ideal sitting space is going to be predominantly on the outside edge of the patio, so I'm choosing this section here as the most occupied space. They did mention something about a fireplace fixture. We'll talk about that in just a little bit, and I think that's about it. Let's look at the overall dimensions that I have here. So height wise, on the bottom of this support beam here, I got 8 feet, top 9 feet off the finished floor. I have 18-foot section here, and then I have a 19-foot 6-inch section from this post all the way to the edge of the wall here. You can see the fan here I have at the fan that I have right now is 5'2" diameter, and then you could reduce that to a 4 or a 3'2" section as well. I think that's about it. As far as the lighting positions, I just have them basically from the perimeter out here. I have them at 3 feet in from all 4 sides, or I should say from the 2 sides on each side here, and then this one is just centered in the patio itself. You can see that the fan itself is in the center of the patio, so the center being from this edge here, this 19.6 all the way to this outside edge here, so that would be the center of the space. Also, you're going to notice that I do have some Infratech recessed 6,000 watt units inside of the ceiling, and they are offset, and we'll talk about that in just a minute, and then some possible changes that we can make in order to accommodate a fan, or possibly just removing the fan. There was a question in reference to the type of fireplace that they're going to have inside here. I'll see if I can answer some of that, but primarily you're going to need to look at your local codes and things of that nature in order to clarify any reason why you can or cannot have that in there. All right, so let's go ahead and turn off the dimensions, and then I'm just going to look at the overall distances I have here. So these 2 heaters from center of the patio I have at 4 foot center to center, or 8 foot center to center on each heater. And then also I started this first row of heaters here from the outside edge at 4 foot 6.5 to the center of the heater, and then the next row at 8 foot to the center of the heater from the set on the right here. Let's see if there's anything else. I think that's about it. All right, so the first thing I want to talk about is the clearances below. So the clearances below, you can see with the fan here, we're not meeting the clearance below the fan. And if I put the dimensions back on here, you can see that, that is kind of why I made a 3 foot diameter fan. Now, what I might suggest is that the fan is moved, possibly. So if you could move that fan a few feet or a few inches over, let's just say 9 inches here, and you can see that we're almost outside of the clearance zone here, so we're still not quite enough. And then on this side here, we're just at that clearance zone here. So what that tells me is that a fan of this dimension, 5'2" in diameter, will not work, and you could put a 4'2", and that would work. That gives you plenty of clearance here. So something to think about, or you could just eliminate the fan altogether, and that would be an option as well. Now, moving the fan so that it's not centered, I would also recommend moving all the light fixtures to the right here so that it looks a little bit more uniform within the space, or maybe just move the 4 units here, here, and here to the right and centered within the fan space here. So that would be a decision that the consumer will have to make on their own. But again, clearances are going to be an issue, and so we'll leave it at that. I'm going to go ahead and push this back just for a moment and go ahead and talk about why I placed the heaters where I placed them. So let's just look at the rafters up here. I took off the roof here, and what I did here is I have the rafters set up at just about a 1/2 inch off the outside edge here. That's the very first start, and then 16-inch centers. And if that's the case, then you know, the only place I can place these heaters is between the rafters, and or you could, you know, have this boxed out, meaning that you'd have to cut this out, re-engineer the rooftop for support, and then move the heater to the exact location that you want. However, just moving it a few inches I think is beneficial for the just a simple application. So the flush mount kits have not only the flush mount kit itself, which is this component right here. It's got the heater, and then inside there is a drywall that's 5/8 drywall, I believe, and that is surrounding the whole flush mount area here. So you'd want to look at the dimensions of the flush mount kit instructions on the installation in order to get all those exact dimensions here. Let's see if there's anything else here we want to talk about. So yes, and then also going back to the rafter location, the reason I have these placed the way I do is if we look at the footprint of heat here, we're getting a very good coverage throughout the whole entire span of the patio. And I know that they just talked about heating up the outer edge. So, you know, if we were to, you know, remove these two heaters, you know, there is a section here that is a little bit inside of the center portion that is not really being heated right. If you were sitting here, you really wouldn't feel much of the heat itself. You would feel mostly it on your legs, and that's about it. So that is why I'm choosing to add an additional 2 units so that the space is heated as best as possible. Now we could also, you know, move these 2 units 16 inches to the left, and we'd have to reconfigure the rooftop here, but that would give us, sorry, here, yeah, we're good. That would give us the footprint a little bit differently. It really just depends on where these rafters truly are. So my suggestion would be to utilize 4 units total, and that would give you a very good coverage throughout the whole span. I mean, once you install a system like this and you have this all enclosed or closed up, well, it's going to be hard to bring in more units. So, you know, the cost is a lot less to do it all together than it is to do it down the road. So in any case, that is what I would suggest. And let me go ahead and turn that off, throw the roof on, and turn off the clearances. So the last question was in reference to this fireplace. They asked if it was safe to place this fireplace in here. Now again, you want to talk about local codes, whether you can have a fireplace with an open flame below a ceiling area, number 1. Number 2, you want to make sure that that fireplace is certified, either CSA or, you know, certified for the use of outdoors and under a rooftop. If it's got a propane tank in it, then the propane tank is, you know, positioned inside there somewhere. I would say that it is protected from the ray of the heat, but this whole configuration will heat up with the Infratech heaters here. The clearance, again, if we went to the clearances, you know, the clearance is 36 inches below, so that's clearances to combustible. Now, some products do talk about having open flames or you know, something of that nature, how far away that has to be. So you'd have to look at the instructions of that particular gas appliance to see if it's okay to put that in there. I really don't have the answer to that, but what I will say to you is that if you are heating up a propane tank, propane does expand with heat, and that creates pressure, and that pressure will be relieved through a, you know, relief valve, and that gas is, you know, can spill out, and that's a potential issue. So my, I guess, overall suggestion would be not to use a propane cylinder under a heater, but I don't have the true answer to that, so that would be something you need to investigate on your own a little bit further in order to see if that's approved. So all right, well, I hope this has helped. If you're looking for some assistance with your outdoor heating application and you'd like us to review your plans, please send your information into designs@patioheat.com. I'm Steve, and please tap that like button if you find this video useful. We don't advertise. YouTube does not promote us in any way unless we receive thumbs up from our viewers like you, and we truly appreciate that. Thank you. Have an excellent day.